Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, great. If he doesn't, then we will see him tomorrow night for college football Thursday. All right, guys, we have a lot to talk about, but before we do anything, I know on the behalf of myself, Anthony, Mike Bullock, and everybody in the TXN sports community, either that being um, Talking Wrestling TXN or the TXN Sports World crew, our family of networks and whatnot. We would like to extend our heartfelt sympathy and thoughts and prayers to go out to all the families that's been affected by Hurricane Ivan. Um, Derek Ferreira from Strictly Sports and Wrestling Forum has been doing an incredible job keeping you guys up to date on what's been going on with the storm, as it has made indeed landfall in Florida earlier this afternoon, and it still is ravaging that community, that area, especially down in the Tampa and Orlando areas. Our thoughts and prayers are with you guys right now. We hope you guys will be able to get through this storm. If you did tough it out, um, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. If you evacuated to a higher ground, we're with you guys. It sounds like the damage is going to be pretty big, and I mean astronomical big. So we don't want to gloss over anything like that at all. We hope that through the power of having cell phones or having tablets or whatnot, at least for the next hour or so, we hope that we can at least entertain you and at least give a little bit of some good quality, good vibes, as they like to say, as it pertains to the world of professional wrestling. And we also got a huge Thursday night football game that we will be covering here tonight between the Cincinnati Bengals, the reigning, defending AFC champions, and the number one seeded currently at Miami Dolphins at 3-0. We will definitely get into that here tonight. So, with that said, here we go. We will kick it off, as always, per the usual, with NXT 2. Well, now the NXT is no longer 2.0. That has been killed off. So now it's just NXT. I don't want to call it black and gold because it kind of is not really black and gold. It kind of feels like white and gold. This new era of NXT, we will talk about it right now. And it did go down per the usual last night on the USA Network. So here we go, guys. NXT. We started it off with a promo by Ilya Dragunov, interrupted by JD McDonough. And these two men had a really good exchange. It was a really strong segment, really strong action. Well, not really action filled, but there was a lot of good storylines coming out of this. Obviously, Ilya Dragunov, harking over the fact that, hey, I never really lost the UK title, and I am worthy and deserving of being the next champion. But then we had a situation with JD McDonough saying basically, you got no business being here. You're not even, this is my moment. This is my time. You're just ruining this. You got no right to be here. Get the heck out of NXT. You got no right to be here. Braun Breaker shows up, and it kind of was really, really interesting. So you see McDonough, you see Ilya Dragunov, and Braun Breaker. And the thing is, if you really think about this, this could lead to a number of different situations. But I really like the body of work of all three men. I think it's going to be a thrilling matchup. There's really nothing more to add here. So, Anthony Florio, it is yours. What a way to start off NXT with the three men that definitely can lay claim to the NXT championship: Ilya Dragunov, JD McDonough, and the reigning champion himself, Braun Breaker.
At times like this, NXT could have used an authority figure or a general manager in this situation. It made little sense that Braun Breaker could ignore JD McDonough's number one contender status and add Ilya Dragunov to the mix. However, there were some fun lines in this opening segment that set the stage for an exciting triple threat. Hopefully, we eventually get Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov one-on-one. And McDonough put over his history with Dragunov, including taking credit for forcing him to vacate his NXT UK championship through injury. And Breaker pulled out the quote-unquote Steiner math to set up the triple threat, which got a big pop from the crowd. And by the way, check out Table for Three on Peacock with Braun Breaker, his father, and his uncle. I watched it last night, and I gotta tell you, it was really nice. So you gotta go out of your way to check it out. It was very well done. So yeah, solid opening segment that sets up the main event for Halloween Havoc, October 22nd on the Saturday night. So yeah, it's gonna be as MF and Gorilla would say, it's gonna be something else. So there isn't much more to say on this. So let's bring in Mr. NXT himself, Michael Bullock, the Phenom. And Bullock, we thought we were going to get Breaker and McDonough one-on-one, but now it's going to be Breaker, McDonough, Dragunov, NXT Championship Triple Threat, the main event of Halloween Havoc TakeOver.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good main event when it comes to Halloween Havoc. I mean, Ilya Dragunov, saying he wants the shot as well, because like you said, he never lost the title, but JD McDonough says, I'm the number one contender. This is my moment. You should go back on the injured list, because if you don't, then I will put you on there. And Breaker says, you know what? Why don't we make this a triple threat match? And JD McDonough, being the heelish guy that he is like, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. The thing is, it's not a stupid idea, JD McDonough. It's actually a good idea, because Ilya Dragunov, like he said, never lost the title. So, yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a good main event. So, solid opening segment. So, it's yours, Fletch.
All right, we jumped it off with the action, the in-ring action, and it was the undisputed NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose. She went one-on-one with Fallon Henley in a non-title match. The winner of the bout in 5 minutes and 40 seconds was Mandy Rose. And Anthony, it is all yours.
Yeah, Tony special here. This was without a doubt this was a Tony special, because you guys know how much I love both of these girls. I'm a big fan of both, and I'll tell you what. This was a fine match, but could have been more interesting with better build and time. While Henley was never a serious competitor to the NXT Women's Championship at this stage, she has the talent to give Mandy Rose a better challenge than this. And this was all about giving the champion another win ahead of her match with Alba Fire. Hopefully the company has a plan to truly build up Fire as a real threat to the champion. And Rose caught Henley with a gut-wrench suplex into an abdominal stretch, but Henley fought out with a hip toss into a clothesline and bulldog for a 2 count. And after the match, Mandy tried to talk a big game, but Alba Fire appeared on the Titantron and set a fire that showed the words "and new" ahead of Halloween Havoc. So it's obvious it's going to be Halloween Havoc. It's going to be Mandy Rose and Alba Fire for the Women's Championship. And could it be and new? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But we're going to have to wait and find out. But that's going to be something. So 2.5 stars for the match here. Maybe 2 3/4 at best. So that's the best I can go. So Michael Bullock, show a nice showcase win for the champ. But now she's got an even tougher challenge ahead of her. Alba Fire, formerly Kaylee Ray, that the one-time longest NXT UK Women's Champion, and as of right now, without a doubt, the biggest threat to her women's title, her epic title reign so far.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Alba Fire is definitely the biggest threat to Mandy Rose's title reign up to this point. But we've seen Mandy Rose face tough challengers, and you've seen her come out on top. That's why she's been on this incredible run. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I mean, 2.5 stars. I mean, it definitely could have been better obviously with time here, but it was fine for what it was. And you knew Fallon Henley. I mean, yeah, she did give Mandy Rose a hell of an effort, but she was never really that much of a threat to Mandy Rose. So yeah, it may have been easy. This may have been easy for Mandy Rose, but I think come Halloween Havoc, her fight with Alba Fire is not going to be easy. Could this be where the reign ends? I don't know. We'll wait and see. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This will be very interesting to watch. 2 stars for me. It was a solid match. Alba Fire is a threat. I mean, if you know Kaylee Ray, and especially what she has done in her career, yeah, this could be very interesting to watch. This could be a lot of fun, and we'll wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, let alone that's it. So we'll move on. Next up, it was Wesley versus Tony D'Angelo. The winner would be a part of the North American Championship ladder match at Halloween Havoc. Wesley wins the match in 8 minutes and 45 seconds because of a referee stoppage. Guys, Tony D'Angelo got hurt in this fight. It's a legit injury. We don't know the full extent of it. However, yeah, so really nothing more to say. We got Michael Bullock. Wesley punches his ticket to the ladder match and for a shot at the North American Championship.
2.5 stars is my rating for this one. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was just so unfortunate that this match had to stop because of the unfortunate injury to Tony D'Angelo. I mean, this had the potential to be a very good match here, but yeah, you got to feel for Tony D'Angelo, and yeah, I'm sure Wesley was happy to be moving on to that ladder match, but I'm sure Wesley was not happy with how he won it. So, because he would have wanted to win by pinfall or submission, but yeah, Wesley moves on, but I really hope that Tony D'Angelo's injury is not real serious. So, it's your Fletch.
Yeah, this was pretty bad. I'm not gonna say that it was a real bad injury, but it looks pretty bad. It's very unfortunate. There's nothing more to say on it. So let's just Anthony, it's yours. Your thoughts.
Another 2.5 to 2 3/4 star match. The finish did not look planned, ending things abruptly with the likelihood that the Don suffered a knee injury. This was an unfortunate end to a match that had a real chance to make an impact. Wes Lee and Tony D'Angelo are both good wrestlers with high upside. It was a freak accident on a basic move that led to the expected result. I got to consider Wes Lee the favorite going into the ladder match because he has been built for the moment after a strong few months of work in the ring. And during the match, Stacks got in the way of a tope suicida to the Don, only to take a springboard plancha for his trouble. And Stacks tried to attack Lee and got thrown out. And yeah, just a damn shame what happened. And we're just gonna have to, we're gonna keep an eye on it and see what the severity of it is. If he's gonna be out, if he's gonna need surgery or anything. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. But 2.5 to 2 3/4 once again. I could even be tempted to give a no rating here because of the finish out of nowhere. So, but it's a damn shame. I mean, we usually don't care how matches end, but this is the only one that really concerns us. Anytime we get a match that ends via a referee stoppage, you know it's something serious. So this is the only time we get concerned. So not much more to say here. MF, let's move on.
Yes, indeed. So we indeed do move on from that. Um, like we said, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. So we had Saul Roca versus Amari Miller. Saul wins the match in 4 minutes and 48 seconds. Look, she's actually relatively new. So she's one of those new projects from NXT who signed a few months ago through the developmental program. Not bad for her first time. I think it was, it was all right. I'm not gonna say it was anything special here, but it's always good to showcase new talent. Anthony, I know you're gonna appreciate it. And then we'll just wait and see how it plays out. But at the end of the day, it was all right. I mean, maybe about 1.5 to 2. It was a short match, though. It was only about 4 minutes, 4 minutes and 48 seconds. So, I mean, it was all right. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, solid debut here. I just checked the dirt sheet about Tony D'Angelo. WWE has not provided an injury update as of yet. And, like I said, we'll continue to monitor the situation as soon as we get anything. As far as this is concerned, I'm sorry, but this is the kind of match that should be happening in the WWE Performance Center, not on national television. I thought it was poorly choreographed, and Sol Ruka seemingly did not know how to transition from move to move. While Ruka showed impressive athleticism, she is about as green as one can get in the ring based on this performance. And perhaps working with more seasoned opponents than Amari Miller will give her more of a chance. So, but like I said, she showed off impressive athleticism, when she rolled into the ring with a handstand. And Ruka caught Miller with a running drop kick for a hard-earned 2 count, and then Miller answered with a leg lariat for a near fall. And that's pretty much it. But other than that, I'm sorry. I got to call dud here. I'm sorry. So, to me, the worst for the night. So, there isn't much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm with Anthony Florio. This was an absolute dud. I mean, yeah, she did show some impressive things, but yeah, this was not a good match at all. This was, yeah, this. I mean, this is a match that should only be at the Performance Center, not on live TV. I mean, yeah, this to me was a definite swing and a miss here. So, dud, worst fight of the night. Fletch, it's yours.
All right. With that said, it was Joe Gacy versus Cameron Grimes. Joe Gacy wins the match in 3 minutes and 17 seconds, but let's be realistic, boys. This was not a fair fight. It was the Dread. Dread got involved. They should not have gotten involved. I'm not even rating the match, so I'm not even gonna rate this one. And guys, it's your thoughts.
Dud, move on.
All right. Oh man, come on, don't do this. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. Let's see here. All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm not use normally I use my laptop to get the results or everything else, but this time I'm using my cell phone and the cell phone locked up on me, so which is very rare. No, normally it does not do that. So I apologize in advance. And with that said, we move on. And the next thing that we had on the show was all right, we had Caden Carter versus Nikita Lyons. Nikita Lyons wins the match in 4 minutes and 54 seconds. You could make an argument this is probably championship committee moment more than anything else. That now probably opens the door for Nikita and Zoe to possibly get a shot at the women's tag team titles. Katana Chance and Caden Carter, the reigning champions. Really nothing more to say on that one. Let me see. Ilya Dragunov versus Exxon Quinn. Ilya Dragunov wins the match in 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Well, for just a moment, because it was Ilya's first match back, and as far as the women go, I agree. That is definitely a championship committee moment. We're probably going to get that at Halloween Havoc. That's just my guess. It was an extended squash. It never gave any real indication that Zion Quinn had a chance. This all happened the way it needed to, as the NXT audience got a reintroduction of what makes Ilya Dragunov special. And hopefully we'll get to some more serious matches from the Czar down the line, with Halloween Havoc still about a month away. He has much more than this to show. And Quinn, meanwhile, needs a complete reset and possibly a move to the main roster. So that's it.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on. Then we had Brutus Creed versus Damon Camp. Brutus Creed wins the match in 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Really nothing more on that one. Leads us into the main event. Pub rules match. Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang versus Josh Briggs and Brooks Jansen. Jansen and Briggs wins the match in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. Anthony, after all that, you get to lead off on the main event of the evening.
11:35, you said?
You got it.
All right. This was the only real reason to tune in last night on one of NXT's flattest shows in a long time. I mean, but it most certainly delivered as a pure brawl. The four men used their environment well to make sure there was not a dull moment. Briggs and Jensen continue to show off why they cannot be disregarded in the tag team division. They bring energy to the room and rarely perform at less than their best. It is a shame, however, to see Gallus lose such a big match so soon. But I don't think this feud is over. This feud may not be over, and Pub Rules could easily become a staple match for the rising Briggs and Jensen. And you notice Gallus fought with security throughout the night. Joe Coffey punched a security guard in the face, causing him to be banned from ringside in the main event. Mark and Wolfgang smacked their opponents repeatedly with belt shots to the back. Briggs and Jensen stole the belts away and whipped their opponents. And then Briggs and Jensen pulled a James Storm or a Bobby Roode, smashing beer glasses over the heads of Gallus, and then sent Wolfgang through a table. Joe tried to interfere and was sent off the apron through a table. And then afterward, Gallus wanted to keep fighting and punched out multiple security guards before they were escorted to the back. So all kinds of craziness. 3 1/4, 3 1/2. Far and away the fight of the night. There is no question about it. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, 3 1/4 to 3 1/2. This was definitely the fight of the night, and the only real good thing about this edition of NXT, because like you said, Florio, this was a flat show, so this was the only bright spot of this. And like you said, Gallus fought with security, and also we're hitting officials too, and they ended up getting arrested, and we also heard that later on in the night that they have been suspended indefinitely. So we'll wait and see what happens with all that. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, the suspension is indeed indefinitely. Gallus has gone too far, boys. I cannot believe. I remember they used to terrorize ICW. This was nothing new to me. I've seen this before. So this is why I couldn't believe that they were I was like, oh no, they did it again. I kind of had the palm face over the face. I was like, oh, I know this is not gonna go well. And sure enough, it did not go well. They were indeed punished. They get they were in big time trouble. And yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. So yeah, nothing more to add. So yeah, craziness at the end. So all right, Michael Bullock, you lead off on this. Well, I'll say it. Rather disappointing episode of NXT last night.
Yeah, very disappointing edition of NXT, and so much so, I'm giving this a 2 out of 10. I'm sorry. I mean, I mean, I'll tell you this: if it weren't for the main event, I would have given this show a dub because this was not good at all. All the matches were short. The show was just flat. It's like they threw in the freaking towel. And yeah, so to Shawn Michaels and especially to Triple H tonight for you two, it was a swing and a miss. Very disappointing. And as an NXT guy, I'm just absolutely disgusted with what I saw. So, like I said, 2 out of 10 for me. If it weren't for the main event, I would have given this show an absolute dud. So it's yours, Fletch.
I, I have to. I'm gonna be a little more generous. I'm gonna give it 3, but like you said, this was a hardcore swing and a miss. And the thing is, all right, guys, look, when you guys took over WWE, when you took this from Vince McMahon, I get it. There'll be bumps in the road. There's gonna be nights like this. We get that. But not like that, guys. No, Hunter, Sean. I mean, you know what? And I'll also blame this because this was a taped episode. This was not actually live, so you could tell. You saw the major differences from a live program to a um from a taped program to a live program. You could you could feel the difference from the show. Yes, it looked lackluster. It looked like they mailed it in. It looked like they were just playing by the motions. It was not there was nothing there that was really locked in on this. So I'm disappointed, obviously not happy at all, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt because of all of the awesomeness, all of the greatness that Hunter has already done with WWE up to this point. I'm not gonna slam it or poo poo it or just attack them viciously. Not yet. They're gonna have to work their way and get back on our good graces. We're a little annoyed with them tonight, but it's not like yeah. I got you guys. So nothing more to say, Florio. You got a 2 out of 10. You got a 3 out of 10. Where are you on that line? Where's the barometer for you?
Between 3 and 4, honestly. I'm more with MF here. Main event was far and away the highlight. Yeah, you had a couple of other solid matches in there. Uh, Good segment here and there. So I say that's about a 3 to 4 for me. So yeah, the tape show definitely didn't do any favors, but I do believe it's supposed to go back to live shows starting this upcoming week. So hopefully this will be where we get the big reset because they desperately need one after last night. So and hopefully this is where business will start picking up and we'll start getting banger matches. Like we're used to getting. So it's a 3 to 4. So with that MF, let's move on to AEW Dynamite on the campus of Temple University, the Leah Kouros Arena in Philadelphia.
All right. And we started off with a promo segment with the Jericho Appreciation Society as they were talking about, Jericho, showing the love about everything going on. So after that, there was an interruption by Bryan Danielson because of the fact that he was challenging Daniel Garcia. Basically, he got him a hat, looked goofy and stupid. He put it on his head, and Daniel Garcia had enough. He's like, we need to really talk about this. This is not me. And before he even said anything, that's when Danielson came out saying, you know what? And they started going back and forth. And then it led into the first fight of the night. Bryan Danielson going one-on-one with Matt Menard. And when it was all said and done, Bryan Danielson wins the match in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. So, solid opener to start the show. It was definitely a good promo segment. I really enjoyed everything about it. Bryan Danielson just twisting the knife on Jericho. I really loved it. But I really believe that Jericho and Daniel Garcia were the stars of this segment more than anything else. I like the fire from Matt Menard, even though he sounded like a goof more than anything else. And there's really nothing more to add. As far as the match goes, it was a solid 2.5 star, 2 3/4 of a star. It was only 8 minutes. So kind of a little underwhelming for me. I was hoping for something a little more better, more higher. But at the end of the day, solid opener. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, Chris Jericho, and Daniel Garcia were the stars of that segment, no doubt about it. I'm just going to leave it at that. As far as the match is concerned, I agree with you. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. There's much to be said for presenting talent as credible, but there is really no reason Matt Menard controlled as much of this match as he did. Bryan Danielson is the best wrestler in the world, and he is recognized as such by a large portion of the AEW audience. And having him struggle against Menard even before Angelo Parker's interference was certainly a choice. The wrong one, but a choice nonetheless. And it was also interesting to see Claudio Castagnoli running counter interference rather than looking to avenge his tainted loss to Chris Jericho from last week. And during that, Castagnoli wiped out Parker with an uppercut on the floor and carried him to the back to prevent any further interference. But yeah, solid match. I agree. 2.5, 2 3/4, and there isn't really much more to say. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on all this?
And I'll tell you this, Florio. I mean, as soon as Danielson made Matt Menard tap out, I'm sure it put a huge smile on your face because, I mean, as history has shown, we know Florio's disdain for whether you want to call them 2.0 or what they were in WWE is ever rise, and Anthony Florio always pissed all over them, and quite frankly, I don't blame him, especially with Matt Menard's annoying way he talks. So, yeah, that little jabroni got exactly what he deserved from Danielson, but solid opener. And as far as the segment, yeah, Danielson and Garcia were the MVPs of that segment. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
All right. Nothing more to say. We do indeed move on. Next up on the show was an AEW World Championship Eliminator match, as it was the reigning champion, Jon Moxley, going up against Juice Robinson of New Japan Pro Wrestling. When it was all said and done, the winner of the bout. Oh, come on. Don't do this. All right. Hold on, folks. It was Jon Moxley. He did win the match. Just give me a second, Anthony. I'll get the time of the fall for you. And the time of the fall was. Come on. All right. Time of the fall on the victory was 10 minutes and 10 seconds. So 10-10. The AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley, continue his winning ways.
3 to 3 1/4 star match. Let me find here. Yeah. it was solid, not overly spectacular. Moxley and Robinson have had much better elsewhere. For whatever reason, this just did not hit as it was probably intended to, and the result was a small letdown of a match given the guys involved. Only 10 minutes, but it was fine for what it was. I will say that. The Yuta reveal was really well done, and the brawl with MJF made up for the ho-hum promo segment earlier. It was the fired up babyface beating that needed to happen to build Yuta and earn him some legitimacy ahead of his battle with MJF next week on Dynamite. And Moxley escaped a fireman's carry and delivered a regal knee in an ode to mentor and fellow Blackpool Combat Club teammate William Regal. And the reveal of Yuta, like I said, behind MJF there, and the preceding attack was very well done. Match was about 3, maybe 3.25 at best. But MF knows the history. He knows the battles they've had in Japan, which I know maybe all of them were bangers, I'm sure. But this one wasn't quite as much as one, but it was still good for what it was. So 3 to 3.25 for that. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts as Jon Moxley now gets ready for Hangman Adam Page on a special Tuesday Dynamite on October 18th.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one with Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. That special Tuesday edition of Dynamite. So as far as this match goes, 3.25. I mean, I would have loved to see more time from it, but in the amount it did get, I thought it was a good match here. And like I said, Moxley now turns his attention to Adam Hangman Page, but you can't forget about MJF, who's lurking in the shadows as well. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is going to be very interesting to watch. This is about 2.5 to 3. I can definitely give you that as well. I thought they did a really good job with the body of work and everything else in that story. So there's really nothing more to add there. Next up that we had was basically the return of Saraya. Saraya, our Paige, for all you WWE fans out there. She basically cut a promo, brought out Toni Storm, Athena, Willow Nightingale, Madison Rain, and Sky Blue. But before she even got a chance to even talk about any of these women, Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Rebel, and Penelope Ford comes out, and Britt Baker and Paige, I'm gonna call her Paige, kind of got into talking about both of them and whatever, but it leads to the next fight of the evening: Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb, a Lumberjill match for the AEW Women's World Title. Well, interim Women's World Title. Toni Storm wins the match in 11 minutes and 5 seconds. So, Michael Bullock, it's all yours after all that.
Yeah, I thought it was a fine promo from Saraya, obviously, and yeah, Britt Baker obviously not taking too kind to Saraya showing up here, and but Dr. Britt Baker needs to remember one thing, and we all know this too. She's not medically cleared to compete yet. I mean, that's the rumors going about. So if she had any thought of going after her, can't do that yet. I mean, until she gets the okay from her doctors, she can't do anything. So, yeah. So, and as far as this match goes, I'm going to give it about maybe 3.25 for this one. I mean, the outcome to me was never in doubt. So, nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, Sorreo, I don't know. I kind of felt like the Britt Baker Soraya, the conversation, that promo, I kind of felt like they kind of got lost there. It wasn't as polished or as good as I thought it was going to be. And Soraya is a really good talker. So is Britt Baker. So I'm a little surprised that it came out that flat. But the match definitely did make up. it was a 3-star fight. I think it was a great match, but I think the stuff before was a little bit of a mess more than anything else. I like Saraya. I loved her body of work, especially cutting the promo early. But then with that interaction with Britt Baker kind of lost a little bit of the momentum. But the match itself made it up in spades. So I thought they did a really good job with that. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, that was the worst promo segment. I mean, it was directionless, no real rhyme, reason, or conclusion. It was about as far from effective as one could imagine. And the randomness of the lumberjack match also felt, I hate to say it, way too much like a McMagma booking call, which is ironic given that Saraya mentioned that she was thankful she had a boss that actually listens to her for once. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. The match, I'm going to give it about 3.25, teetering on 3.5. Match was good, yes, but there was still a considerable amount of time and attention paid to the women around the ring instead of those in it. That does little for either Toni Storm or Serena Deeb, but was a microcosm of the show as a whole in that it was unfocused despite an ample amount of potential for something great given the competitors involved. There was ultimately no reason for this to be a specialty match, nor was there any cause for the other women to be involved. It was merely an excuse to get them on television and establish Saraya as the new, well, whatever it is she's going to be for the women's division, since it was never revealed whether she would be wrestling or not. Storm winning was the right call, and Serena Deeb still looked great in that she survived the champ's finisher and only lost following a devastating pile driver. Still, it rang hollow considering the questionable booking around it. And Deeb kicked out of Storm Zero in a moment that felt unnecessary, given the finish followed just moments later. But to me, it was the second best fight of the night. I'll give it about 3.25, teetering on 3.5. So there isn't much more to say. MF, I understand we have a delicious squash next.
Yeah, Ricky Starks, delicious squash, wins in 50 seconds. We're just going to move on along. Up to the main event, Chris Jericho versus Bandito for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho wins the match in 18 minutes and 25 seconds. Obviously, fight of the night. Incredible matchup. Entertaining to say the very least. Another 3.5-star match, a 3.75. But there was a little something that was definitely interesting to note is that after the match was over, Chris Jericho challenges Bryan Danielson for the Ring of Honor World Title down the line. So obviously, it looks like that's going to be the next match. It was fine for what it was worth. It was a solid main event. I really got nothing more to add there. So Anthony Florio, it is yours. It is a 3.5-star match, fight of the night. A good way to close the show. Obviously, I'm not gonna. Normally, I go high horse here, but I'm not gonna go high horse. I could have called about the dishonor of what he did after the match, especially to Bobby Cruz, the ring announcer. Absolutely despicable. But I think Iya Riccaboni and the guys on commentary pretty much they basically said what I was going to say anyway.
And MF, I gotta say this. You know way more about Bandito than Bullock and I combined.
Yes.
I mean, it's the first time I think this is the first time. I don't know if I've ever seen him wrestle before. If I have, I can't remember it. But MF, I gotta tell you, from what I saw from Bandito and his from the first time I ever saw it, I'm sure it might have been for Bullock too. I was thoroughly impressed, and there is no doubt about it, MF. This was the fight of the night. I think, with all due respect, you underscored it a little bit. I'm going to give it between 4 to 4.25. This was hands down the fight of the night. It was by far the fight of the night, and it was not remotely close. The work was snug, the spots perfectly placed, and the crowd was rooting for the challenger down the stretch. Chris Jericho continued to spit in the face of all things Ring of Honor by cheating dishonorably to retain the title. then followed it up after the match with a cheap low blow to Ring of Honor ring announcer Bobby Cruz. I believe this is ultimately leading to Daniel Garcia dethroning him in the name of the promotion and carrying that brand forward. And while there is much to question about the idea of Jericho denouncing Ring of Honor in hopes that fans do eventually care about it enough for Garcia's win to have the desired effect, this is the highest profile that particular title has been in years, for better or worse. And Jericho mockingly did a secret handshake with Bandito, showing the former champion little respect in a fairly humorous moment. Jericho stood on the top rope looking down at his opponent, who was poised to counter him and still jumped right into a super kick. Bandito executed a 1 minute plus vertical suplex, which popped the crowd. Blood red painted the white mask of the challenger as the commentary team questioned whether he may have had a broken nose underneath it. And Bandito delivered a 21 plex for a dramatic 2 count. Far and away the fight of the night here, 4 to 4.25 stars. And MF, like I said, I know you know way more about Bandito. You know his body of work. You know his history. I think this might. I don't. Like I said, I don't know if I've seen him wrestle before, but if this was the first time, then all I can say is he's unbelievable, man. I gotta tell you. I mean, if you had sold him on me, I would have been like, all right, let me see what he's it. Let me see what he does, and because I've never seen the guy wrestle, but boy, howdy, man. I was thoroughly impressed with that young man. He is something. And I can see why he is a former Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. So there isn't much more to say on this. Fight of the night, 4 to 4.25 stars. Bullock, I don't know if this is this the first time you've ever seen Bandito wrestle? And if so, I know he impressed you just as much as he impressed me.
Yeah, this is my first time ever getting to see Bandito wrestle here, and man, I was really impressed with the body of work of him. Now I can understand why he was the former Ring of Honor World Champion, and he definitely showed it here tonight. So 4 stars for me, definitely the fight of the night, hands down. And yeah, I mean, but yeah, what everyone's talking about is Chris Jericho. I mean, basically flat out disrespecting everything that Ring of Honor is all about. I mean, he basically said he was going to destroy everything about Ring of Honor, and he was going to destroy every single wrestler, every single ring announcer, and even the announced team. And basically, in some way, Chris Jericho's probably going to say it's going to be now known as Ring of Jericho. And we don't do things the Ring of Honor way. We do things the Jericho way. So, yeah, what Jericho did was absolutely disgusting. And what he did to that ring announcer didn't do anything wrong. He was doing his job. And basically, Jericho wanted to send a message by doing that. Yeah. Way to go. I mean, what a class act you are, you piece of shit. I mean, I don't know what else is there to say on this one. So, and like I said, Fletch is probably, he was hopping mad when Jericho did what he did. Basically, spitting in the face of one of the great ring promotions in professional wrestling, in Ring of Honor. So, very disgusted. And to quote one of your famous quotes that you had in Chris Jericho in WWE, Chris Jericho, for spitting in the face of Ring of Honor, you just made the list. It's yours, Fletch.
I should have set it up. I should have set you guys up for that, but it's okay. Let's go to the overall thoughts. Anthony Florio, you lead off on the overall thoughts for AEW tonight.
Yeah. I kind of felt it was not one of their better efforts. It was still good. It was still solid, but it was not overly spectacular. I could probably only give this about maybe It was definitely better than NXT, though, hands down. Probably give this about 7, maybe 7.5 at best. I mean, main event was far and away the fight of the night. Yes, there was some good angle advancement and setting up some potential bangers down the road, especially Jericho and Danielson in Toronto, Ontario, Canada in 2 weeks on the 12th, October 12th, after Columbus Day. I mean, that's going to be something else. That's got potential. So, we all know Bryan Danielson's got Ring of Honor World Title experience. MF knows the history of it. So, but anywho, that was the fight of the night, Jericho and Bandito. I like to see more of him, no doubt about that, Bandito, in the future. I wouldn't be mad at it. And then the women's match, even though the way they set it up was messy, that was, for me, the second best fight of the night. And then rounding out the top three would probably be, by default, Danielson and Menard. Some solid, but not overly spectacular angle advancement. So I say about 7, maybe 7.5 at best. Like I said, not one of their better efforts. Grand Slam was unbelievable, but this one around, I think it was, I hate to say it, but somewhat of a back to reality kind of type show almost. So, but hopefully with the anniversary show next week in DC, hopefully that'll, hopefully they'll get it. They'll get it. It'll be a get right show in a way. So 7.5 for me. Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, it was solid, but not overly spectacular. I'll give it 6.5 to 7. I mean, it was not one of their best efforts on this show, and like you said, I think this was a back to reality edition of this show. So you basically said everything. So I'm just gonna give it to you, Fletch.
About 6. I'm going to give it about 6. I thought it was an all right show. There's really nothing more to say about it there. All right, guys. So we got one little thing left to do. Thursday night football on Prime Video. It is the Miami Dolphins going up against the reigning and defending AFC champion, the Cincinnati Bengals, as it will be from Cincinnati, Ohio, at First Energy Stadium.
MF, with all due respect, you mixed up the Ohio stadiums. First Energy Stadium is Cleveland. This is Paul Brown Stadium.
This is Paul Brown. All right. So I mixed it up from last week ago. All right. So Paul Brown is in Cincinnati, and you guys already know the crew. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit. For all you guys on Westwood 1, it's Iron Eagle and Tony Baselli. And for all you football fans, if you guys want to see it, obviously we got a number of ways that you can watch the game. But for all you radio viewers out there, for the Miami Dolphins, this is strictly Miami Dolphins only. You guys can listen to the game on 560 WQAM in Miami. Jimmy Strulefero, Jim Rose, and Kim Bo-Kempler are the announcers for the Miami Dolphins. And don't worry, Cincinnati, I didn't forget about you knuckleheads. So I also got the Cincinnati radio broadcast. You guys can listen to that game on 700 WLW ESPN 1530 or 102.7 WEBN. It's Dan Holland and Dave Littman on the call for that game. Miami is a slight now to go into the real nuts and bolts, the schematics, like we like to do on the show, like we normally would do on NFL Saturday. Going into the game, the Cincinnati Bengals are a 3.5 point favorite going into it. And on top of that, let me see if there's the final part of the thing I was looking for. Anthony will have to give us all the rest of the stuff because I don't have anything more than what I have right now. So going into this game, the Miami Dolphins are flying high out of nowhere, stunning the NFL world by knocking off the then number one team in all of the NFL, and many people believe the favorites to win the AFC, the Buffalo Bills. Miami stunned Buffalo 1 week ago at the Hard Rock as they stunned Buffalo by the final score of 21-19. And yes, we also, I'll talk about it. We got away with the butt punt. The butt punt happened. Yes, not one of the finest moments of the Miami Dolphins history. It goes up there with the Gary Upremian, the fumble in the freaking Super Bowl where he was trying to throw the football. The football goes wayward on him, and that led to the Washington Redskins scoring a touchdown in the game. The only downside of that game, other than that, it was absolutely perfect. That was actually the perfect season for the Miami Dolphins. They were supposed to win that game 14-0. When that botchamania moment happened, it ended up being a 14-7 scoreline, and was one of the more embarrassing moments for Miami Dolphins football fans out there. And unfortunately, now this one goes in that legendary archive of embarrassing moments for the Miami Dolphins, but it didn't hurt us. So we did not lose the game. I don't know how we did not lose the game because of that. But the butt punt happened. Thomas Morstead, he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his career. But you know what? It is what it is. It happens. We love you, Tommy. You're in infamy now, man. You're going to be with a lot of people for all the wrong reasons. But Miami wins. They got the win. And now they got to play the Cincinnati Bengals, who, you know, at one point we were thinking, oh my God, they're not doing so great. Are they the Bengals or are they the Bungles again? Well, they played the New York Jets, and they're the Bengals, folks. They're dangerous. They came back. They got a good win. Big win for them. Must-needed win for them. Now they're playing on a short week. And a lot of people are saying Cincinnati is probably gonna get this game. Tua Tagovailoa right now is a game-time decision. As many of you saw, there was a little bit of Tua got pushed, got his head, bell rung, got up and was a little woozy. But according to the NFL, he passed concussion protocol. So it was not a concussion. They're saying it was more of a back and a ankle injury more than anything else. So Tua is a game time decision. There are some players that are absolutely on the fence. We don't know if he's going to play or not. This is one of those games where I hate to say this smells like a trap for Miami. You know, coming off that big win, coming off 2 monster wins, this could be the letdown game. This could be a letdown, you know, because of the fact that you had that moment, they won it, they shocked the world. Everybody's talking about, oh, the Dolphins are amazing. They're back. They're great. They're this. They're that. You know what? I prefer being the underdog. I prefer not getting this big head because this is what I'm afraid of right now. Because I think now that the moment happened, I'm feeling like, oh, this might be bad. This might not be good for us. But at the end of the day, you got to handle your situation. And I hate to say it, but Miami is not at 100%. You know, there was a lot of guys who are in who are injured, but they probably will play tomorrow, which I really hope they do. But the main player is Tua. Right now, they're saying he's playing. That's good because if he's playing, that really increases my feeling of picking Miami. But with Cincinnati at home, you know they're gonna look to get back on track. And they're hearing a lot of stuff about the Dolphins, hearing them saying that, oh, all of a sudden they're the favorites now, and that, you know, now they're like they caught everybody by surprise, and now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of the Miami Dolphins, and I'm like, no, you guys discounted us at the beginning of this thing. Get the heck off this bandwagon. You're not welcome in here. You never believed. So what makes you think you jump on the bandwagon now? Why? Because we beat Buffalo? No, get out of here. So the thing is that if Tua plays, I think Miami wins because with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, with Mike Gesicki, with that, the offensive line has been good, but they've been good, and they actually did pretty well against Buffalo. Buffalo has a really good defense, and Miami held them for the most part. And that defense is flying around. They're a bunch of maniacs. They're playing really great now. So we're going to see how that plays out. But if Tua can't go, that means now we got to rely on Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know if you guys know it because I saw the game, and I know, Anthony, you know this because of the red zone. When Teddy Bridgewater went in that game, Miami was collapsing. Like, they were bad. They were horrible. I'm telling you right now, if Bridgewater's the starter, Miami's got no chance to win that game. I will easily go Cincinnati, and I will pick Cincinnati any day of the week if Teddy Bridgewater is the starter. I'm sorry. I know that sounds a little harsh and a little cruel, but if you saw that game against Buffalo and you saw how horrible he was, I was looking for the third string Skylar Thompson to come in to that game. And the damn thing and the heartbreaking thing was homeboy was deactivated. He was not available to play. And boy, we would have needed him if Teddy Bridgewater would have kept playing because Miami would have been sunk in that game. So, if Tua plays, Miami wins. If he cannot go, I'm going to go with Cincinnati easily. So, this is going to be a good game. This is going to be very interesting to watch. Anthony Florio, I know you got the local stuff. I know you got the schematics on the history of the battle. Lay it on us, man. It's all yours.
Before I do, MF, I want to take this moment, as a Bills fan, and I'm gonna be a man like I always am, like I was on the messenger the other day. Take this moment to acknowledge you, Eric Carrier, and the rest of your Dolphin family. When I simply say, well played. I was impressed. I was humbled. You know the rest. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. So well played, and you guys deserve where you are right now. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, folks. I mean, we in Bills Mafia, we still feel fine. We still do. So we're not gonna. I could have, Bullock. I could have, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. The only way I would have is if it was a playoff game. If this was the postseason, then maybe I would have. But considering this is only week 3, going on week 4 now, and we have that extra week now, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed, absolutely disappointed, because I thought Buffalo was going to win that thing. I really did. And I could make all the excuses saying, "Oh, it was way too hot out there." I could, tear MF a new one and say, "Hey, you guys only won because you had the heat, you had the humidity. It took away from the guys, It slowed them down. Stephon Diggs had cramps and all that stuff, But the thing is, December 18, that's when we meet again. December 18, we go from the heat and humidity of Miami to the bitter cold of Buffalo. Let's see what the Dolphins are made of then. So, but like I said, well played, impressed, humbled, and the rest of the Ben Stein routine. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, all right, local folks. If you don't have Amazon Prime Video, I have Amazon Prime Video. MF has it. I'm sure Bullock probably does too. But yeah. For those of you who don't, for the folks of Cincinnati, you can watch the game on WCPO ABC 9 in Cincinnati. And for those of you in Miami, you can watch the game on WSFL CW 39 in Miami. So you can, so that's it. WCPO ABC 9 Cincinnati, WSFL CW 39 in Miami. So that's where you can watch the game, and I'm actually going to have some more local stuff on Saturday night because I have a couple of more listings, some more local listings for a couple of select games. So I'll elaborate on that on Saturday night. Cincinnati opening up as a 3.5 point favorite. I know MF's going to be like, really? Yes, MF, really. Cincinnati is opening up as a 3.5 point favorite. But the good thing here's some good news for MF. Miami does lead the all-time series 17-7, and the Dolphins have won the last 2 meetings, but they were both in Miami though. The last one was 2020. Miami won 19-7. Last meeting in Cincinnati, 2018. Cincinnati won that one 27-17. Last time the Dolphins won in Cincinnati, got to go back to 2012. That was a 17-13 win for Miami 10 years ago. So there you have it. By the numbers, the Dolphins defined logic with their win over the Buffalo Bills to get to 3-0, following a near impossible comeback to take down the Baltimore Ravens. There is bound to be some regression to the mean, and their blitzing defense plays well into the hands of Joe Burrow, who got well passing last week. Tua Tagovailoa's back injury and limited running game help will make this spot difficult in a hostile environment on a short week. Miami, I hate to say it, they're bound for the classic letdown, while Cincinnati continues marching back into the AFC playoff conversation. So, I want to go with Miami. I really do, because they left me no choice but to put some respect on their name after that win last week. But considering that the Bengals, now that they got their mojo back after that get-right game with the Jets, this could be where the Bengals, start to get the mojo back. So I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go with Cincinnati to win this one. I say they'll do it 27-23. But like MF said, it depends on the quarterback situation. If it's Tua, then Miami's got a realistic chance. But if it's Teddy Bridgewater, Cincinnati's back. So, but if Cincinnati loses and drops to 1-3, we may have to start calling them the Bungles again. And if the Dolphins get to 4-0, well, they're for real. And you remember when MF, you should know your ears are probably still ringing from all those screaming Anthony Florio moments at the end of that game the other day, when I said the time has run out, and then I said the fins are for real, and then I even acknowledged you guys, and I even did the fins up. So yeah, so. If they get to 4-0, fins up, no doubt about it. But I don't know. So I'm taking a chance on Cincy, but would I be surprised if Miami wins? I wouldn't. The only way I would is if Teddy Bridgewater somehow, some way finds a way to do it, if it ends up being him. If it's Tua, then no surprise, because he's a stud. So 27-23, I'm going with Cincy. So I'm not overly confident, but we'll have to wait and find out. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, all I can say is after what MF's Dolphins did this past Sunday against my Buffalo Bills, at least for right now, I think it's about damn time we start putting some respect on the name of the Miami Dolphins once again.
Yeah, with the way they're going right now, I think it may be time to put some respect into Miami, but we'll see how it goes with this game here. And and it all depends if Tua is able to play. If not, then I don't know. I just don't like their chances here. They'll give them an effort, but I'm with you. I got to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to win this one. So yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. So let's put an end to this night.
All right, we're out of here. And tomorrow night is College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio on the Tone 25, as we will be going into the new week of college football. And we got some big ones, guys. We got Iowa versus Michigan at the 12 o'clock window. What a way to start. We got some really good top 25 showdowns.
Headlined by NC State versus Clemson in prime time.
And then, NC State and Clemson in prime time.
Chris
We also
Herbie.
got Wake Forest and Florida State. A good 3:30 matchup. And then, of course,
Kentucky and Ole Miss.
Kentucky, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Alabama. And we also got a good one in the Big 12 with Baylor and Oklahoma State. So we'll cover it all. That's going to start at 10:30. And then Friday is Cerebral Smack Talk at 11 p.m. per the usual. And then at 10:30 on Saturday, it is NFL Saturday. And we will be going through, we'll recap the Dolphins versus the Bengals. And we will be setting ourselves up for the rest of week number 4 of the National Football League. So we got some games bright and early. We got a game in Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, we're going to jolly old England. We're gonna be doing the tea and the crumpets now with the king, not with the queen anymore. We got a king ruling the UK now. So instead of hearing God Save the Queen, it's gonna be God Save the King on Sunday morning. We'll get into that. So until then, for Anthony Foyo, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and so long.